confession time. Raise your hand if you have a junk room in your house. When we built our house, we knew we wanted something that we had never had before, an actual finished guest room. For the past year and a half, we've had the space for a guest room, but nobody was going to be staying the night in there. Recently, I decided it's finally time to get all the junk out of there and to turn that extra space into a beautiful, relaxing guest room for friends and family to come stay. I made sure to stick with the modern decor that matches the rest of our house, but I got a little bold with color, and I tried a new wall treatment that I've never seen before. So keep watching and I'll show you how we did it. This video is sponsored by Omaze. Until recently, our guest room was just a place to store all the random stuff that we don't know what to do with. The room is definitely not large. It's only about 10 feet by 11 feet, but it has this amazing 6 foot by 6 foot picture window. When I started my preliminary design, I knew I wanted that gorgeous window to be the focal point of the room. The best way to accomplish this was to place a bed with a custom-built low headboard in the space underneath. I also wanted to make the space a little bit more cozy by adding a modern molding design to the walls and painting the lower 2/3 with a neutral but warm brown color. I could then add a natural fiber rug to kind of soften the concrete floors and round out the soft modern design with a couple more elements like full-length curtains and light-colored nightstands. The first step was to address the modern molding treatment on the walls. I guess you could say this is a much more minimalistic and sleeker version of wainscoting. We went to our local Home Depot and purchased about 20 sticks of this inexpensive lattice trim. We decided to use PVC as opposed to wood trim whenever I'm cutting flimsy molding like this, and especially if I'm making repeated cuts. It's a good idea to use some masking tape to tightly bind the molding together so it can be measured and cut all at the same time. This step saves me from making a billion individual cuts, and it also helps give this flimsy trim some rigidity so it's less likely to split or break while cutting. With the trim pieces all cut, we were ready to start installation, but not until we cleared all of the junk out of the room. With a fresh blank canvas, the next thing we did was to mark out the horizontal line where the trim would begin. In my other videos, you've probably heard me recommend laser levels before, and that's because they are amazing for projects like this. If you're going to do any sort of molding design or accent wall, I highly recommend you invest in a laser level. Another massive virtue of the PVC lattice that I used is the fact that it's super lightweight, which meant that it could be easily installed on top of the drywall using an adhesive caulk and just a few 23 gauge pin nails. If you don't have a pin nailer, you could probably get away with using a heavy-duty stapler. You'll just have a little bit more touch-up work. To get the spacing between the slats perfect, I made myself a little spacer block out of a scrap piece of trim. Once one slat was installed, all I had to do is butt the spacer next to it, mark a small line with a pencil, and adjust my laser level to show me where I needed to install the next slat. Thankfully, since I was using teeny tiny 23 gauge pin nails, they leave such a small hole in the material you're nailing that you typically don't even need a fillet. The whole process went really quickly. I was able to install all the trim in about 3 hours. I was able to start painting later that same day. Everyone always has a million questions when I use this paint sprayer. It is a cordless, airless unit made by Graco and powered using 20-volt DeWalt batteries. Airless sprayers are great for laying down a lot of product and are typically used for things like painting houses. I used a water-based paint and primer from Glidden, which is my #1 reason why I chose PVC molding instead of wood. Water and water-based finishes raise the grain of raw wood. One tip for making sure you have extra crisp paint lines is to make sure that you pull your tape while the product is still wet. Time to introduce this video's sponsor, Omaze. I'm excited to be working with Omaze to offer you the chance to win a $130,000 custom tiny house from Trueform Tiny and to support a great cause, the National Park Foundation. Go to omaze.com/pneumatic to enter for your chance to win. Omaze is an online platform that allows people to support worthwhile organizations while entering for a chance to win some pretty amazing prizes. When you click the link below, your donation will be going to support the amazing work of the National Park Foundation. I grew up visiting national parks as a kid and have tremendous love for that foundation. Now, as we've had kids of our own, we have continued to visit several national parks. Here's a couple of pictures of us when we were in Denali National Park. And here are a couple pictures from us in Yosemite. I've actually been thinking about tiny homes a lot lately, and I am very, very interested in the chance to maybe win one. Judging by the kind of questions that I get from a lot of you viewers, I bet most of you would love to win your own custom tiny house as well. So for your chance to win a $130,000 custom tiny house from Trueform Tiny, go to omaze.com/pneumatic and enter now. And remember, donations go to support the amazing work of the National Park Foundation. While the paint was drying in the room, I began working on the custom bed that would fit underneath the window. I was actually able to source most of the material for the new bed from our old mahogany dining table that I scored years ago. So you can use this video as evidence to your partner that material hoarding is actually a good thing. And you need to keep all that scrap wood that you've been moving around for years. I tried out a whole bunch of new techniques on this bed to get roundovers and coved edges. I also experimented by making the mattress support out of inexpensive steel conduit instead of wood. I absolutely adore how it turned out. I'll be sharing a full video tutorial on the bed build soon, as well as step-by-step building plans, so keep an eye out for those. At this point, it was time to start moving all the pretty stuff into the room and start decorating. I added a pair of DIY pendant lights on either side of the bed and upcycled a pair of garden stools into nightstands by attaching an inexpensive cutting board to the top. I wanted a couple of oversized pendant lights to hang on either side of the bed, but I wasn't finding any in my price range, so I decided to make my own out of PVC pipe. I think each one cost me like $17, $18. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see a whole tutorial. We sorted all the junk that was previously in the room into some low-profile plastic storage under the bed, and then the guest room was complete. I know in a modern house, painting 2/3 of the walls of a room brown might be a bit controversial, but not only does it coordinate with our Corten steel accents on the exterior of the house, it's almost the exact same shade of brown as some of the leather accents that we have throughout our home. This helps create design unity throughout the house while still allowing each room to have its own vibe. Speaking of our home, if you want to see how we saved hundreds of thousands of dollars by building our modern house ourselves, make sure you check out the full Building Modern on a Budget video series. And if you like other types of DIY content, check out this video as well. Remember, I've got the building plans and video for the bed coming soon, so look out for those. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.